Hi guys, there was another question from section 6.4, assessment A, number 9. Let me go ahead and work it for you. It's going to be probably a short video on this one, and then I'll try to, because there are a couple of more questions from section 7.1. So I guess I'll just make this one and then make another one on section 7.1. So problem number 9 says, Gary, Bill, and Carmela invested in a corporation in the ratio of 3 to 5, respectively. If they divide the profit of $82,000 proportionally to their investment, approximately how much will each receive? Okay, so we want to know basically how much money out of the $82,000 that is the profit each one will receive. Okay, so let's go ahead and first make some observations. So obviously, since 2 share is basically owned by Gary, 3 share owned by Bill, and 5 shares is owned by Carmela. Okay, so we're going to, so therefore altogether, of course, there must be 2 plus 3 plus 5, right? This will be the total number of shares in this company. Okay? Which of course is 10. So you have exactly total of 10 shares. So let's see if we can figure out how much of that $82,000 Gary should get. So we have, Gary has 2 shares out of the total of 10. So there's your first ratio, the number of shares Gary has to the total number of shares. So that must be equal to, now remember, the profit is of course $82,000. So we want to know, of course, how much of that would basically Gary gets, right? Because again, the number of shares that Gary owns with respect to all the shares is 210. Then of course the amount of money he'll get with respect to the total would be that ratio. Okay, so once again, as you can see, we have another proportion to solve. As we mentioned last video, as long as there's only one unknown and 3 parts are known, you can always solve any proportion. You can cross multiply, isolate the x. Sometimes you can actually reduce the fraction if possible before you multiply. So it doesn't matter either way. And then of course you isolate the x. So I'm going to go ahead and actually reduce this fraction, which is same thing as 1/5. Because 2 goes into 1 time, 2 goes to 5 times. So now we have basically 1/5 equal to x over 82,000. So we're going to cross multiply, which says of course 5 times x equals to 82,000 times 1, which of course will remain as 82,000. Then to solve for x, we'll divide by 5. And that should reduce to 82,000 divided by 5, which I believe should be $6,400. $6,400. So this much would be the amount of money that Gary will get from the $82,000. Okay, so obviously, if they want to know how much all of them will get, then the next one, of course, would be, I believe, Bill. Now remember, Bill has 3 shares, so you can do pretty much the same thing. So you're going to put 3 over 10, because the total number of shares is still 10. And then this time you put, let's say, x or y, another variable. You can use x again, over, again, 82,000. And again, similarly, cross multiply, isolate y, and that will be the amount money that out of the profit that Bill would get. And if you want the last one, Carmela, then of course you do the same thing, except you put, now in that case, of course, you put 5 over 10 instead of 2 over 10, and of course do the same thing. Okay, all right, well, I hope that helps. So I'm going to make another video very quickly here from section 7.1, a couple of questions there, and hopefully I can upload them shortly. Thank you guys.